Hi, I'm Tara Desmond from Veterinary Community Partnership, and I'm here to talk about knife safety and knife skills. So before you even start cutting, it's important to get acquainted with the safety of your board. The best place for your knife to be when you're not using it is right at home, up at the top, rather than off to the side where you could bump it with your hip. The other thing that's really helpful is to always have a very clean board. And to do that, you'll need some other tools. In particular, a garbage bowl or something to collect things as you cut. The other thing that will help you do that is working with a tool like a bench scraper, and that helps you kind of pick up safely what's on your board and transfer it either to your garbage bowl or to a prep bowl. When it's time to clean your knife, it's important to walk through the kitchen safely with it, which means not walking like this, but rather with the knife at your side. You also need to let everybody else in the kitchen know that you're moving through the kitchen with a knife, just by simply walking behind someone and maybe tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "I have a knife behind you," or "sharp behind." The other option for taking a dirty knife to the sink is to put it in a sharps bin. So the next part of knife safety is your hand positions. First and foremost, how you just pick up your knife from the start, by picking it up right at the handle and getting a good grip on it up close without really putting your finger up on the blade. The next really important part are your hand grips while you're working with food. And there are three major ones that we talk about all the time at Veterinary Community Partnership. The first one is the bear claw, where your thumb is tucked behind your fingers and your fingers are acting as a guide on the food as your knife moves through it. The next is the bridge grip. And the bridge grip serves to hold on the food nice and safe and tight and allow you to put the blade of your knife between your fingers like the bridge to control it. The third grip is called the rock chop. So you'll have your knife in your hand and your other hand isn't quite holding food anymore, but it's serving to keep control of the knife by putting your hand on top of the blade and your fingers up out of the way. Most of the time when we're cutting, we start with roly-poly objects. And the safest bet is to get a flat surface to move forward. I'm going to cut the onion tip to tail, keeping the tail end intact, and I'm going to use some of our knife grips that we talked about earlier as I do this, starting with the bridge grip. And now I can take the blade of my knife and put it underneath my fingers, and I'm going to take the nose of the knife and point it down to the board as I cut through. My knife goes back home, and now I have two flat, sturdy surfaces. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this first top layer, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a trim of the tip of the onion. So if you look at an onion or you run your fingers across it, it has a really helpful guide of its own lines. So I'm going to take my knife and use the tip of my knife toward the back of the onion to kind of create the first slice. And now I'm going to take my knife this way. Your fingers are holding the onion steady, and I'm going to take the nose of the knife down to the board and slice through. And then we're going to end up with the dice that we need. When you get to this point, it gets a little bit awkward to hold it. You can flip it down and we can get the rest of these dice right into our bowl. So now we're going to talk about one of our other favorite Veterinary Community Partnership phrases, planks to pieces. And get ready to go planks to pieces on this carrot. I'll grab my knife, good grip, maybe just trim off the ends. And then like everything else, we want to get a nice sturdy surface to start. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this carrot in half using my bear claw, tucking my thumb behind my fingers and using my knuckles as the guide. Nose of the knife down to the board and slice right through. And from here, we're going to get that steady, flat surface. So I'm going to use my bridge grip again, like so. Put the blade of the knife between, slice right down through, and now I have two steady surfaces. So when we talk about planks to pieces, we're just talking about breaking down the food a little bit smaller into the shape and size that you need. From here, I want to get medium dice. Nose of the knife down to the board, slice through till you land on relatively uniform dice. Oftentimes in the kitchen, we're going to be starting with kind of a big, unruly object. Think big to small. So we're going to use that bridge grip, blade underneath the bridge, and there's our steady surface. You can even peel this piece down a little bit smaller into a smaller chunk and working through like so. We'll use that third knife grip, the rock chop, when we're working with food that's already really small, like mincing garlic. So to start, I'm going to trim off these little dry ends here. I'm going to go planks to pieces also to get the garlic equivalent of planks. I'm going to push these planks into a pile, and now this hand doesn't really serve to hold on to the food anymore. So I want it out of the way, but still controlling my knife with the rock chop. And I'm going to run my blade through the pile of planks, back and forth, till you get down to minced pieces that are nice and small, minced garlic. So those are the basics of Veterinary Community Partnership's knife skills and safety. Now that you have those foundations, you're ready to start cooking. So have fun and be safe.